Hello again, everyone. Edwin Lerner back once again in this YouTube astrology segment. I should say, sadly, likely YouTube shadow banned astrological segment. I want to be talking about astrology and the death of Nahsiyah Turner. Some of you may have heard it was on January 18th of this year, 2025. Her life tragically ended. It was due to a gunshot wound to the chest. It was in, I believe it was by a shopping area in Southern California, and very tragic. She was only 17 years old. She was an aspiring TikTok star, and she did dance videos. And I'm going to talk about her, her life and her death based on the chart. I have her natal chart and, transits to it at the time of her passing. Now, the thing is, again, she, Nahsiyah Turner, was shot and killed on January 18th of 2025 due to the a gunshot wound. And the thing is, the details on the death, my understanding, are obscure at this point. There's, certain conjecture and speculation regarding them. And, the thing is, there was one, lieutenant on the case. He said he wasn't going to elaborate at this time, regarding the details. I hope they are, doing what they're supposed to do, law enforcement, due diligence, and, checking, the suspects for, gunshot residue or what have you. And I'd like to offer, if any of the close friends and family members see this video, I want to offer my prayers and condolences to them. And the thing I'm going to talk about first is that talk about, natal placements and her life. And the thing is, now, her son is in Aquarius. I got birthday is February 9th. 2007. She was going to be 18 on February 9th. She was 17 at the time of her passing. Her birthday was posted on, she had an Instagram post on February 9th, which said basically, a celebration to herself. And the thing is, she has a sun in Aquarius. The sun is the basic fundamental character, and she was likely somebody that was very, altruistic as far as the basic character goes. Altruistic, selfless, non-conforming, maybe even a little bit of a rebel. Someone that was innovative and unobtrusive and considerate as well. I'm sure. And her moon was in Scorpio, so there's a big, disparity with that. And, it likely made a square to her sun, and you have, the conflict of energies with the sun, which is the basic fundamental character of the true self. The moon is the unconscious, the emotions, the feelings, and you have, the sun, being, in a, it's interesting, you have the sun in Aquarius, which is very independent and freedom oriented, and, maybe somewhat aloof and detached, as far as personal connections go. But the moon in Scorpio may have a strong need and desire for the intimate, close connections, ones that aren't superficial. And you have, very strong, passionate, emotional nature, with the moon in Scorpio. The emotions can be very powerful and intense when you have the moon in Scorpio. And the sun in Aquarius is more averse, to that expression of the emotions. And also, Aquarius could be that universal friend, and Scorpio can be more, mysterious and secretive and private, and have difficulty letting others in their lives. So you have a very strong disparity with her sun and her moon. So some other things in her chart I know is she had the sun making a sextile to Jupiter, which naturally could be fortuitous, for one's life, and evolving, expanding horizons, global communications, publishing. And the thing that stood out to me in her natal chart is that she has Neptune conjunct her sun, a pretty close conjunction between Neptune and the sun. And the Neptune is associated with dancing. And so, she shined in dancing, and Aquarius is the internet and social media. And maybe she even had, an eclectic or unique style to this, given that the conjunction is an Aquarius. She has a very, strong Aquarius Pisces influence in her chart. She has the Sun in Neptune and Chiron in Aquarius. And she had Mercury, Uranus, Venus, and the North Node in Pisces. So, you're talking about 7 of these astrological energies, either in Aquarius or Pisces. So, the Aquarius is that strong humanitarian urge, or maybe a strong urge for the environment, selfless, altruistic actions. And Pisces is altruistic and compassionate. So you have a lot of this, sacrificing, selfless energy going on with, Nahsiyah in her chart. Now, some other things I want to get at I thought was interesting is that her Mars in Capricorn. Okay, Mars, of course, is in its exaltation. It's in the best placement of the sun, for Mars being in Capricorn. And Mars in Capricorn can give a lot of, drive and motivation, toward, business administration, executive ability, business acumen. I think, if she had lived, she could have done something, with business. And the Mars in Capricorn made, a sextile to her Pisces placement. So that's a very good, blending. As far as the, having, perhaps business, executive ability, career, being very ambitious regarding one's career, and having it blend in with the Pisces idealism and grounding that energy, making, the Pisces dreams, more realistic, I would say. So, Mercury being in Pisces, I'm sure, her mind was often focused on her dreams, her fantasies, and, her ideals. So the thing is, and what's impressive is that, given that she had the Mercury in Pisces, which in its, many of you know, Mercury in Pisces is in its detriment in fall, that she was able to come out and do what she did and really be able to, put herself out there. Because Mercury in Pisces can be somewhat, reticent, and, the thing is, when you have, I guess you could say with the Aquarius, energy did help her bring a lot of that out, more, extroverted type of, side, and being able to shine in social media. And also, she had Mercury conjunct Uranus, which could be, as far as it could be very innovative, ingenious thinking, and also being able to communicate on social media. So I think that did help her as well. So there's some other things in her chart, sadly regarding her death and natal place, and she had, as far as the solar sunrise chart goes, again, because I didn't have time of birth, so I had to improvise and do a solar sunrise chart in which I put the sun at the spot of the ascendant. Now, in the solar sunrise chart, she had the ruler of the 4th house of the end of life in the 1st house, conjunct Uranus. And the ruler of the 8th house, the same. The ruler of the 8th house, which is Venus, also was in the 1st house and made a conjunction to Uranus. So it shows, the end of life, the death likely being in one's environment. And hitting Uranus, now this is where, it gets interesting, because, there's some people that speculate that there may have been a friend that may have been involved in her passing, whether it was an accidental shooting or what have you. Uranus and Pisces, though generational, can indicate, friends that may be, deceptive, duplicitous, elusive. So, you have to, factor that in. Now, one other thing I want to state is I noticed she had a fairly close opposition between her Sun in Aquarius and Saturn in Leo, which indicates to me that it might have been, required a lot more work in industry in terms of getting, what she wanted, whatever it was, just in general in life. Or, the thing is, I think too, a lot of it was, when you have that disparity with Aquarius and Leo, Aquarius, the Sun in Aquarius, the basic fundamental character again is one that's more unobtrusive and kind of blends in with others, and not so much about, the accolades and limelight. But you have the Saturn in Leo. Saturn can be about work and industry. So there may have been, that could be an indicator of working in something where there's more extroversion and standing out and getting more attention. So you have that disparity with the energies. Now, another thing, I'm going to talk about, some transits in her chart, that may have been tied in with her passing. Now, thing is, on a positive note, though, the transit is interesting because she had her Venus return at this time. So that could have been, positive, in terms of money, doing something, Venus return in Pisces, doing something as far as video and film. I don't know if she had anything monetized on TikTok. I don't know if she even had a YouTube account, but if she had any of these monetized, that could have been more, prosperity, during that time, for that. But another thing too is that she also had, Saturn, transit Saturn in Pisces was close to her Venus and in her North Node. Now, the thing about that is the Saturn, transit Saturn conjoining the North Node may actually been a time where, where it was the future was really tied into her work. Saturn is about work, and Pisces is, videos, filmography, dancing. So you can get the idea, with that, and, it's a very important time for that. But sadly, it could have also been a time where, sadly, there may have been some destiny tied in, with sadness and despondency, maybe tied in with betrayal, deception and duplicity as well. Now, another transit she had is that transit Pluto. Now, here's a very intriguing, compelling transit. I talk about something I generally don't talk about in my astrology videos. It's a midpoint. Now, or near a midpoint, transit Pluto at the time of her passing was near the midpoint of her North Node in Pisces and the Jupiter in Sagittarius. And, this gives, certain significance. Now, this could have been a time for her, that could be an indicator. At the time, sadly, of her passing, this is very important and significant because, Pluto is about power, it's transformation, and it might have been where she was able, to have certain power, fulfilling some kind of destiny and purpose in doing so, by influencing, those globally, through publishing, publishing videos, empowering others. So, being able to impact those globally and also, impacting her destiny at the same time. And some other thing, and also too, the sad, but at the same time, I thought what's interesting is that Pluto, of course, is connected with death. So I do wonder if that may have had, played some bearing or influence the fact that that was at the midpoint of, the North Node, which is the destiny, the future, and you have Jupiter, which is about global communications. Now, transit Pluto at the time was also in her solar sunrise 12th house of the unseen. So this is where, and also 12th house is the house of confusion, what's nebulous, what's unclear. So I think this may have played a role as to why things are very obscure, right now, regarding her, her passing. Now, and the thing is, too, as well, the transit sun was also in the solar sunrise 12th house. So that could be, 12th house is a house of ending. So that could be an indicator as well, the end, of one's life. And the transit moon was not far from her natal south node at the time of her passing. And when you have that transpire in a transit, that could suggest, the soul, being left, going away from the soul departing, because the moon is connected with the soul, and the south node is what we're leaving behind and going away from. So, I mean, those are some things, to look at as far as her chart goes. And what I wanted to get at, was one last transit, was Neptune. Transit Neptune was also squaring her natal Pluto at the time, and the significance about that, also could have been indicated harder to see the deception and duplicity, which is Neptune, intimate, close connections, which is Pluto. And, another thing too, it may have been a time as well that it may not have been overly auspicious, just in terms of evolving, sadly, in general, for whatever reasons, whether it's due to, some distractions or, what have you, evolving on the spiritual level, maybe due to some, crisis or upheaval that may have been going on. But I mean, at the time of her passing, she had, a number of transits. Of course, everybody's experiencing this because these are transits that are going on for everybody. A lot of Pisces energy, but it's interesting because she has a strong Pisces influence in her chart. This may have played some role, in being, more influential in terms of the dancing and doing things through videos on social media. But anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.